Everyone wants to become the best version of themselves. When we are talking about the gaming industry, you always aspire to that version of you where you have a studio, where you have a great career working for a AAA company, or having a product that helps you build your success. But when we consider that kind of scenarios, we're looking a gap, a distance that is huge. And when we confront that scenario, we stalled. Most people don't fail in the gaming industry because they lack passion or ideas for video games, but because life gets in the way. And don't get me wrong, we are going to have families, we have to pay the bills, we need an income. And then because we get into this cycle and we see ourselves from where we are today as a game developers to what we want to be and feel that we don't have time, then we quit. And we become a cynical version of ourselves saying that this is not going to work. Today, I want to talk about a new approach. Welcome to the Game Creator Accelerator channel. I am Tony Munoz. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and tap the bell. Each week, you will get on real tutorials, practical strategies, a clear methodology, and inspiration to build your game career. And don't forget to visit willow.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship. And let's book a one-on-one to see how it can help you. Link is in the description. Recently, I admit I discovered this fantastic channel called Modern Wisdom. Here is a podcaster called Chris Williamson, and he was interviewing Jordan Peterson. And one thing that stuck with me was the idea of we as humans, we try to evolve to the best version of ourselves, and we see what is the final goal, and we focus only in the final goal when the approach that we need to take in order to reach that point is to do small changes, one at a time. It is about closing the gap. If you have this distance and you add one action today and another action tomorrow and so on, that is going to compound in terms of days, weeks, months, and years, and that will create the transformation that you're looking for in the gaming industry. One idea that I consistently brings to my mentees in the Game Creator Accelerator is the fact that you need to be a better version of yourself if you compare you with the knowledge and the things that you were doing a day before, literally yesterday. If you start a week, a Monday, and you don't know, let's say, how to make a transition between animations to look good for a third-person shooter, and the next day you understand that clearly, and you apply that knowledge in the game that you are creating, and you share it with the people, with your followers on YouTube, with your peers, it doesn't matter. When you have a proof of that transformation day after day, that is the element that will close the gap day after day. And the importance of having that testimony of your work is the fact that you can find a proof of that progress. I'm going to present this example pretty simple. I started redefining my YouTube channel this year in 2025. And if I see the original videos that I recorded at the beginning of the year on January, oh my God, they're so cringy if I compare it to what is the version of myself today. But the fact that I record that process, that I share it with you, that I challenge myself, not only to learn new things, but to learn how to explain them, and then how to evolve that into creating my own video game where I'm showing you week after week what is the process, how you can start building your knowledge and be excited about that process and be transformed about that process. That's when I can measure my own transformation. Now consider this. Imagine that next Monday you decided, okay, I'm going to create a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter video game. I'm going to follow some tutorials and I will start building this world. I will get inspiration. I will take some photos and get some sources that will help me define my path from this point on. And now let's say that on Friday, you record that and you start showing to the world. The transformation is not immediately. But then imagine that you do that week after week. I'm not saying that you're going to take 8 hours a day to do this. I am saying that you start showing consistently what is your progress, that you are consistently closing the gap between where you are at this point and what you want to be. And believe me, in time, the higher point will increase its altitude because you want even a better version of yourself. But the fact that you are closing the gap will help you moving forward faster to try to get to this point. It is in our nature. We always want to improve. And if you are listening to me right now, it's because you also are in that search. It's because you're trying to figure out, how can I make my life more impactful for me, for yourself, by creating something special through the tools of a video game, because I need to express myself. And that's the part that was already covered. That is the part that is your inspiration. You know your why. And I know about responsibilities, about family, about kids, about paying the bills. And I also know about cynicism from people saying that this is not going to work. But then I watch the proof. And what is the difference between every person that I interview that is not progressing in their career, and the rest is that usually when I check out people on LinkedIn, they just have their name on LinkedIn and maybe some repost from other people, not from their own work, from their own progress. So how can you expect that somebody is going to pay attention on your work if you don't have anything? You don't have a progress that you've been sharing. And don't watch that progress as the final result, the final video game that you will create. That's wrong. That is just a snapshot of what moment of your career. But what you want to show is the path that you've been taking and how you reach to those points. And I know that previously I talked about people like Notch, the creator of Minecraft. Maybe that's an extreme. But you can see other creators here in YouTube that they found their space and built their community, not only to allow them to create their own projects, but to build a sustainable income that will only grow in time. And many of them started like you, with pressure from the bills, the families, the things that you have to pay. But they did the job to close the gap one step at a time. You don't know how to start. I already created a C++. I am creating a C++ course that you can start to get week after week. I am sharing a process about how to build a third-person shooter because I love third-person shooters, one step after another, week after week. Do the same thing for you and start sharing with the world, what are you doing today? And that version of you that is here will be closing the gap week after week. You don't need to quit your job to start building a career in video game. But you should not compare yourself to where you are today to what is the final version of you if you don't take small actions. It's the small transformation that will help you compare you to the version of yourself yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. And the testimony of that, where you share it in social media like YouTube and you can see, oh my God, look at that version of myself and how different I am from where I am today. That will be the moment when you will really notice your transformation. So the question for you is, what are you going to do next? Like, subscribe, comment, share. And remember to visit william.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program. It will be my pleasure to have a conversation one-on-one to you to understand where you are at this point and how I can help you in your process to become a video game developer, a successful video game developer. Until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.